All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had a awesome week, as I did. As usual, it kind of flew by, but here we are, safe and unharmed. Um, Tonight, we got another great, awesome, talented guest. We have Miss Shanell Henry. Some of you may know her as Ms. Reality. We're gonna sit down with her and chop it up about everything that she has going on because she is definitely active. She is definitely hustling. She is definitely moving, and she is definitely shaking. So, for those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Henry's movement, I'm gonna give her the opportunity to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background on all she has going on. All right. So here we go. You got the floor.
All right. Well, what's up, everybody? And what's up, Mike? It is an honor. Thank you for the invitation to be on your show. Let's take a walk. I love walking, by the way, so I'm going to enjoy that. I love walking in truth and I love walking for exercise. But anyhow, again, it's an honor to be here. I am Shanell Henry, formerly known as Ms. Reality. Some of you may be familiar with that name more so than Shanell Henry, and some may be just familiar with my birth name. But born and raised in Lansing, Michigan. I've been doing ministry now for close to 20 years. Um, and I was a part of Sounds Good Ministry as an artist missionary, as well as One Entertainment, which my husband and I are music ministry. We traveled, done music, but now I am currently focused on just the empowerment piece, motivational speaking, ministry, inspirational speaking, empowering women and youth. I wear many hats, and so my focus really is the five heartbeats, is what I would call it. The theme of who I am, that's faith, family, friendship, fitness, and fun. That's like a theme of who I am. And I minister through those outlets. And yeah, that's a little bit of what I have going on currently in the season. So again, I'm excited to be here. I am a wife of 24 years, almost 25 years. I'm a mother of three sons, two daughter-in-laws, and now four grandchildren. So I'm a new grandmother. So just a lot going on. This season has definitely changed for my life in these past few years. And I'm just excited. I love Jesus. I love the Lord. I love being real with people. I love people. I just love being an example, inspiring others, because when you inspire others, you in turn are inspired. So that's a whole lot and a little bit of who I am and what I do.
Absolutely. When you asked me, um, how did I come across your movement? And a lot of times, um, if I don't already know the person or their background or whatever, um, like I just kind of like surf around Instagram, surf around Facebook or whatever, and I just look for interesting movements or whatever. And so when I came across yours, I went to YouTube and I kind of like um, researched some of the stuff that you had going on, and then I watched some of the short videos that you did, and the things that you and your husband were doing as far as like marriage ministry and all that. And I was just like, yo, I have to have her on. You are like the epitome of what this show kind of talks about or deals with. People who do things that impact culture and community, whether it be through their gifts or talents, or maybe they own a business, and in that case, then we're talking about the services that they provide.
Okay.
So when I saw your page, I had to kind of dig deeper. Um, so you started off as a rapper.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
When
So prior to me, I rededicate my life. I rap secular. So I came up at the brink of hip hop back in the 80s, and I started writing at the age of 13 years old. My first recording at a in-home studio. I was about 16 years old, and I done talent shows for years. And I literally, like, I released a EP back in the 90s, and then coming into, actually that was early 2000, I released an EP, and then I had a full length album I released secular. And God was really dealing with my heart, um, of my lifestyle of sin, and the music. I would make excuses about how my music wasn't really that bad, and I wasn't doing a whole lot of cuss words, but the music was just edifying self and my lifestyle of just me, 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 me. And God was calling me higher than that, as He
Mhm.
was calling me out of just my lifestyle of sin. So I rededicated my life and thought I would be done with music. And 9 months after my rededication, the gift began to stir in me again, and I began to write for His glory. And it was just off and running. I began to record, travel, had opportunities, doors were opening. So I've released 4 full-length albums, gospel. So that's five
Mhm.
gospel, 5 albums total, one secular, four gospel. And yeah, so that season for me pretty much has come to an end of recording. And my focus now is just to, again, empower and minister. There's still a season of waiting on God for what's next, and that's okay. That waiting process is wonderful. So that's where I'm at now, though I'm doing a whole lot, as you guys have already heard, but I know there's more, and I'm just waiting on God. So yeah, I thank God for the platform of music, because so many opportunities, so many relationships were built from that, as well as being able to communicate the gospel. And we know that music is timeless. So I still get people who call and say this song impacted them, and they're listening to this song, or, oh, you're Miss Reality. So I just thank God just for the opportunity, and even the seasons of writing and recording and traveling and ministering. And my heart has always been to minister the word. So even when I would be on stage, or at the jail, or at a conference, or at a picnic, or at the school, between the music is where my heartbeat would really kick in, when I'm able to just share my testimony and share my love for God, or share His love for the people. And so yeah, music is my heart. I love it. And I thank God that He used me, and found and pulled me, pursued me, to come out where I was, and use me with that very gift to communicate His truth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Um, I have a lot of artists on here, but mostly singing. But I've had a few um, hip hop artists, Christian hip hop artists on, but never a female Christian hip hop artist.
Really? Never?
Never
All
that
right, Miss
I
Reality, first up.
right. I may be forgetting somebody, but I don't think I am. I
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I am. I,
You're not offending nobody, are you? I hope you're not offending my sister out there who may have been on the show.
no, 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 not at all. But what's I have, like I said, I've had quite a few Christian artists on, but mostly singers, and I've heard how the climate is kind of for them as singers. But what's the climate for a female Christian hip hop artist at that? What did you encounter? What was the atmosphere like?
I loved it. I thought there weren't um many out there, and I learned that there were. They just weren't given the platform that they should have gotten. So
Mhm.
there was a network that was built between us female Christian rap artists, and that was phenomenal. But the climate was awesome. Usually, of course, it was male dominated per se. I loved being able to travel and even minister with, like, your 116 click, Lecrae, your Trip Lees, Thizzles, and that was awesome, just to be able to travel and hear guys like that, just with the passion. Like, when I first came on board, didn't know a whole lot even about Christian rap. They were ministering to me, like it was blessing my life, right?
Right.
And so the climate was like, okay, so this female is coming. Oh, she rap, or I would get on stage and people would think I'm about to sing or do a run. And when I start rapping, they like, whoa, we didn't know that
Yeah.
was about to come out. So it was great. It was great. The climate was very well received. I've been able to help break down barriers for people who didn't believe in Christian rap or didn't care for Christian rap or wasn't familiar with Christian rap in my community. So I thank God for that. And yeah, it was great. I've been so many places, so many doors. And I'm telling you, there's been times where I would go into a church and it looked like a bunch of 60-year-olds and up. And I'm like, what in the world am I here for? They
Really?
want me here, like,
Right.
maybe they got the wrong one. And I would shut that down and go do what I've been told to do, whatever song the Lord would give me. And I'm telling you, the anointing and just the breakthrough, I'm telling you. And I would run into people like, my mama love your CD, or my daddy be bumping your CD. So I'm just grateful just for the diversity of age and nationality, and even from secular artists that will be inspired. Of course, we want to impact them. So the climate was great. The climate was great.
I asked that question because, like last week, I had a group of praise and worship leaders and Christian artists on and a panel interview, and we were talking about how the church community as a whole views the the post of a psalmist or the post of a Christian artist or whatever. And sometimes it seems like they're not given the consideration or respect that, for instance, if I had you come to my church and I said, "Hey, Miss Reality, do you have an honorarium?" Yes, I have an honorarium. It's X amount of dollars. Whoa, you know what I'm saying? And because they don't think that for whatever reason, the artist should even ask for honorariums or ask for, money to come and do, versus if they brought in a speaker, they're
Right.
more apt to, you know what I'm saying? They
Yes.
put
Yes.
that above, one above the other, in other words. And
Yes.
so
Yes. Yes.
that's kind of like an age old debate. And some people are offended by the thought of even talking about it, while others are, very forthcoming about it. And I talk to artists all the time, and they tell me their experiences about, going to certain ministries, going to certain places, and not being really treated as though what they're doing is ministry. It's almost treated like entertainment. I mean, and it is to a certain extent, but it is also ministry, especially when you're talking about, Christian hip hop. And so that's why, that's why I asked you that, because I'm always interested to know what
Yeah.
artists and former artists think about, that type of thing.
Right.
But moving along, so you stopped doing music.
What's that?
You stepped away from doing the music
Yes.
and you became um, an evangelist. Well, before I'm not even gonna go there yet. This whole influencer thing, like when I was researching you, like I said, I was checking out your videos and the things that you were doing, like with your husband and and it just really seems like you are meant to do that thing. I don't know exactly what an influencer is, but you are. I I guess if I had to say, you are what I would think an influencer would be, because you look like you are having a ball. Is it as fun as it looks? The things that you're doing, the little TikToks and the different things. Is it as fun as it looks? Are you having as much fun as it looks like you're having?
It is. It is much. It is as much fun as it looks for me. I am living life out loud. I'm a very energetic individual. I've always been energetic. I've always loved people. Social butterfly. So the whole TikTok thing, I jumped on TikTok about a year and a half ago, actually before the pandemic. Let me just check and see what this is. Told my son, "Oh, I got a TikTok." They're like, "Oh no, mom." Just for fun, right? So I was posting
Right.
about my son doing football, and that thing took off. And so I love to dance. I love music, and I started just learning it. Like, oh, this is cool. So I was doing it just for fun at first. And then, after I started gaining followers, I'm like, wow, this is a platform and an opportunity to influence, to impact through who I am, my faith, my family, my friendship, fitness, and just being Shanell. Okay. And so whatever they get is what they get. So I started to do that, and it kicked off. I've gotten opportunities through TikTok. I've built relationships through TikTok, and most importantly, I've been able to minister through TikTok. Like right now, I'm doing a 21-day challenge every day for 21 days, as I'm doing a lower body fit challenge as well. I'm doing a 21-day challenge for prayer, right? So it's mind, body, and spirit. So just opportunities to minister and just be me, because that's who I am. So yeah, um, that's been a blast. Working out, I love fitness. I love inspiring others, encouraging others to work out, and in turn, I'm held accountable to work out. And so, just the whole fitness piece is fun for me. I love my husband. I have a wonderful marriage. I thank God for just who God has called us to be as one. There's no perfect marriage, but there is a perfect God. If your marriage is anchored in the Lord, all things are possible. So it's good to be married. Marriage works, and it's wonderful. I've been with my husband since I was 13 years old. No, we haven't been married since we were
Wow.
13, but we
Okay.
were dating in middle school. So we've had a years here and there where we broke up, but here we are. Okay. And so just that in itself, how God delivered both of us. When I rededicated my life, he rededicated at the same time. Prior to, when he was ready to rededicate, I wasn't. When I was ready,
Wow.
he wasn't. And then we like butted heads at a point in our life where it's like, we need Jesus, we need to quit playing, and we rededicated together. So we have a story to tell and books to write. And so I just love that, just that freedom, and just being who God has called you to be. That's what life is about. Living it out loud, no shame. Just my passion for the Lord. And I was passionate when I was in the world. I was passionate prior to me rededicating my life for people, for clubbing and getting high and doing me. I was passionate about being Shanell. But when I thought that there was nothing else, and God snatched me and pursued me through patience, and his loving kindness is what drew me. I found out that all I needed was him. And because of that, I'm just so bold to tell the world about him. And even if it's not, strictly coming from the word, or saying, you Jesus, 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 like just living life, and people are drawn to that, like there's something different. What is it? And I'm bold to share it. And so it's gonna come out. You bump into me, it's gonna come out. And so
Absolutely.
it's fun. I love it. Now I'm a grandmama, right? So my
Right. Wow.
grandmothers were everything to me. I no longer have grandmothers that are living. And
Mm.
so to be a grandmother is beautiful. I'm able to impact my grandchildren the way that my grandmothers impacted me. That is everything. My youngest grandchild is 1 week and 2 days old. And
Wow.
on my way to the hospital, when they said that she had arrived, I was thinking, wow, I'm on my way to see another grandbaby. And I thought, I wonder what my grandmother was feeling like when she was on her way to see me. And then I thought, wow, like my grandmother has been gone for 22 years. And she impacted my life like never before. And I'm like, I have that same opportunity to impact another life, and it can still live on after I'm dead and gone 20 years plus. Let's do it. That's fun, right?
Yeah, that's absolute. Listen, as I'm listening to you, I'm just listen. Some of these interviews just do themselves. Like, and this is one of them. This is one of those times where I'm just gonna let you just.
I'm talking too much. I'm talking too
Not
much.
at all. Not at all. Not at all. I think that like I said, there's some interviews that you just kind of let the person go
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's meant to happen, and that's when a person is their most genuine, their most authentic, when they're just kind of like
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. Yeah.
and what you're doing, you're giving me joy by what you're doing. You know what I mean? And like I said, with the videos and everything that I've seen that you do, like I said, it really looks like you're very happy. And when I talk to you, just hearing everything that you have, as far as your new grandbaby and your family and everything like that, you. now I can see where that joy comes from. You know what I'm saying? It's not contrived. It's not, forced. All of that. You know what I'm saying? It just really look. You really just look happy, and you really look, vital. But moving on to
Thank you, Mike. Thank
formal.
you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Moving on to ministry. Okay. So why don't you take this time to shout out your church and your pastors and or apostles
Absolutely.
or bishops or whoever you have, in your charge.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I am a member of the Abundant Grace Faith Church, and my leaders are Pastor Lewis Dixon and Pastor Pamela Dixon. Love my ministry, sound doctrine, awesome worship, but truly they are leaders who will take you to the Word. Teachers, we get in the Word and they teach, and I so appreciate that. And so, yes, I am one of the youth leaders there who teach teen church. My husband is an usher there, and he actually is a carpenter. So we own our own construction company. So he
Okay.
remodeled a grocery store. He literally like built the church that we are currently
Wow,
at
wow,
right now. So
wow.
yeah, he does a lot of carpentry and building as well. Of course, outside of the church. But I wanted to add that's part of the ministry as well. And so, yes, and just in the city, like we're the church, right? So as one, I thank God, like shouting out City Life, who Pastor Jerome Veerling, who I partnered with the ministry with Sounds Good. So they're like home, Walking Truth Ministry, Pastor Tracy Edmond. I can call out many churches in the city that I feel like is also other homes. And so I just thank God for the fellowship, that we could connect with other members from other buildings, because again, it's beyond brick and mortar, it's the body. So I am one that will always advocate for fellowship, community, not this whole clicky, we over here, we do this, and even worshiping leaders. I will always honor my leaders, but you get people who tend to worship their leaders, and it's like, okay, are they the Lord or is God Lord? And so I've always,
Right.
because I came from under a ministry that was something like that years ago, and I thank God even for the season that I was there, but I'm very sensitive even to that. So thank you for allowing me to shout out my leaders and just for
Absolutely.
other churches as well in the community.
You kind of touched on it with your husband and everything, but the next question I was going to ask you is, your family. What what role do they play in everything that you do now? Like, what role do they play?
With my family outside of my husband,
No, I mean, including your husband. I mean, like, how do they, are, I'm trying to put it
yeah,
up.
clarify
How,
it for me because I'm wondering what you mean
what,
by what role.
what are they, how inspiring, as far as from an inspiration standpoint, do, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, what role do they play? What's their importance? What do they do within the Ms. Reality movement? What do they do? Like
Okay.
your husband. You said your husband was a carpenter and everything
Yep.
like that. So are they a big part of your creative process? Are
They
they
have been for years. I thank God, even like when I travel forever doing music, like my husband would take off work and travel with me to a point where you're like, I can't go no more. I need to make money. I need to do work. And so I I'll never forget that season. That was so hard because he was always there. And it's like I get it. Like sometimes, like you mentioned it, some people will give you an honorarium, some it will be a love offering, right? So here it is. We taking money and bread from the house because he wouldn't be working. I would pull away from work because I too have a full time job. And it was a season where he's like, I can't go everywhere, all the time anymore. And so, but anyway, he's always just been that moral support there in ministry and just, like that's my ace, right? So his role is to be the head, whether it be prayer, support, counsel, just being there, wisdom. He's business minded. So he's always throwing out ideas as it pertains to the business portion of it. And even now with me with influencing and doing content for certain brands and all the other things that I do, I'm always bouncing stuff off of him, and he's always giving me feedback and insight. My oldest son, he is an architect, but he's also in the graphic arts world, so he'll most time do artwork for me. Also share things or insight I can bounce off of him and his beautiful wife, who's a major influencer, my daughter-in-law. So I get, even watching her is inspiring to watch her, and in turn, I inspire her in ministry. My middle son, same. He's cool. He's good with like videos, so I'm able to go to him for things like that, photography. And his wife, my other daughter-in-law, is also an influencer, so same there. The inspiration and empowerment, goes both ways. And my youngest son, my Jeremiah, who just turned 15 last week, he's a blast. His role is to keep mama youthful. Okay. He keeps me youthful. He keeps me going. So I am also the director of a youth movement, a youth coalition called the Peace and Prosperity Youth Action Movement, PPYAM. And he's one of the youth that's a part of that youth group. And so mentoring them, empowering them, I learn a lot from them. They keep me going. And so the role they play is just family being who they are, and it's all integrated, it's all a merge, and it's all a vibe. And I thank God for it.
Wow, that
And the
is amazing.
grandbabies, oh, their role, joy, right? Joy. So my grandson, I put his name out there, Braylon Henry. He's like uh he's like the nephew, okay, of the States. Like literally, he is a superstar on social media. And so
Okay.
my grandson, now there's Nyla, which is his baby sister. Then I have Kyron and my baby girl London, who just arrived. And so they're just a joy. It's just a joy. It's a beautiful thing. It's family is God's design, right? And so just doing it
Absolutely.
and living it out loud.
Absolutely. So, we're quote unquote coming out of a pandemic right now. Last year, 2020 was a very eventful time, and it really challenged all of our sensibilities. It challenged how we see ourselves as it pertains to people of other races, that whole thing. Um, can you can you describe, if at all, how 2020 played a role in Chanel Henry right now? Has it caused you to change how you move around, how you do business, how you even do the influencer portion? Has it affected you, um, in that way, in any way?
If anybody say the pandemic has not affected them, I want to meet them.
Right, right.
Definitely impacted, but in more great ways than not so great ways. For me, like again, I work full time for General Motors, and never in the history of my 26 years of working for General Motors have I known for it to shut down for anything. Okay,
Hmm.
for a whole month and a half we shut down. That was major.
Wow,
But what a
wow.
blessing to still get paid and to be home and have spend more time with God. I began to draw near. I had more time for intimacy. Thank you God for fellowship, the Zoom sessions, prayer, just to cover the nation. That was when the Black Lives Matter was popping off, and just the unrest. It was very challenging yet inspiring, because I knew that there was something in me that I wanted to offer those who are in need, and that's hope, right? And so just the sidebar ministry opportunities was wonderful, but at the same time, like I love people, I love being around family, and not being able to be around my mother like I wanted to be around my sister, my nieces and nephews, even my grandchildren when it first started. That was hard, but it also was a self check. Like, you know what? God is all I need. So I need to take this time now to really invest in this relationship and this intimacy And that was wonderful. And then at the same time, having to be up under my husband and my son every day, and we get in our flesh sometimes like, oh Lord, will he go to the store or something right now? So even that heart check of really dealing with, you know what I'm saying, myself, and you know what I mean, like being up under each other, it was an opportunity to see this is what empty nesting is gonna look like. This is what retirement is gonna look like. Here's some practice right now to check yourself. And so it was great, but there were some times that was challenging because we was getting tired of like, oh Lord. But it was beautiful. And just when people started to lose family, and I know you wonder how it impacted business and influencing. Not so much. It gave me opportunity to really learn, and have time to create more content because, again, a full time job, I didn't have all the time like I had when we had those almost couple months off. But I lost some people. I lost my first cousin, who was like a brother to me, and that was so hard. Yet so beautiful because the Lord allowed me to minister to him about 9 years ago when he almost lost his life due to a heart attack, and he had a heart surgery. And he did not know the Lord, wasn't serving the Lord. And the Lord gave me an opportunity to go minister truth to him, to receive Jesus so he would save him. Not only save him into salvation, but save his life. The Lord spoke to me. I'll never forget the day in church. And I drove an hour and a half to this hospital to minister to my cousin. And he received Jesus as Lord in that hospital bed. And his life turned around. God saved him. He should have been dead and gone. So God graced him and added 9 more years to his life. And although I miss him, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So God graced him. He graced him his loving kindness. He could have took him 9 years ago, but he didn't. So even though I didn't think he would go, and I was able to pray with him when he went into the hospital, and it was just so much. But yeah, that was really, really rough. And another opportunity to minister hope to my family and to be an encouragement and to walk through it with his wife and his children. It's a lot. Then you have others that have lost mothers and fathers, and just the reality that, guess what, the death of someone else is a reality that we're still alive, but yet for what purpose? I kept saying, Lord, this can be me tomorrow. I can catch COVID and die. I'm not exempt from it. I'm speaking by faith that I am healed of the Lord, right? But we were speaking that by faith for others' lives too that didn't make it. But we know that that disease didn't come from God, right? It comes from the enemy who comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But when it's my time, where will I be? Where will I be? And I know that for sure. So I thank God for that, and I thank God that it gave me an opportunity to become more encouraged and empowered to communicate that truth. It's unfortunate that it takes that for you to take off and become more bold, but I'm telling you, I was off and running and looking for opportunities to minister because people were afraid. People are still afraid. And what do you look to when you're afraid? Hopefully, God.
And see, you're driving right into what I was gonna get with you about being an evangelist and a minister and being in ministry, particularly in these times. And like I said, I asked you, did it change? I noticed that I'm the type of person that I'm very practical minded. I can receive I can receive from anyone, but the more practical the better. And what I mean by practical is
I get it. Go ahead.
when you're talking about things that when you bring it to a level that I can relate to, what I'm saying? When you can talk about the barbecue, I can talk about the barbecue. I know about a barbecue. I've been to a barbecue. You know what I mean?
Right.
But particularly in this season, how important? And I asked this to pastors, some pastors that I've had on here before too. How important in the midst of the ministry, right? In the midst of ministering to people, how important is it for you to share your personal feelings in in the midst of everything that you're ministering to people, particularly when we talk about the racial injustice and these types of things like that. And what I mean, and to kind of elaborate on the question, um, I usually ask it this way. I say, have you found yourself? having to be more black than you've ever been, um, particularly in this time, because people, well, I won't say people, I'll say me. It was like, I'll share a moment. I hope my apostle is not upset with me for sharing
You
this,
say
but
that again?
I'm about to tell you like a story real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Um,
Don't tell it quick. I
my,
want to hear. I want to hear from you too, Mike.
okay,
This we
my,
taking a walk, brother.
yeah, my apostle, Apostle Charlie Evans. I had I was watching everything that was going down with racial violence and stuff, racial injustice and everything, the George Floyd thing, and it really put me in a place that I was never not familiar with. Like, I have two sons, you know what I mean, and just just thinking about anything happening to them, I can't imagine. And so to see that and all these things going on around me, it really put me in a certain type of way. And so I sent a message to my apostle, and just kind of telling him how I felt and how angry I was, how scared I was, how sad I was. You know what I mean? And I love him. He's awesome. Like, Apostle Charlie is awesome. Um, so I sent it. It was like I don't know, some pages probably. I don't know, but he took the time, and he didn't give me church talk. He didn't give me a whole lot of cliches and stuff like that. But he spoke to me in a practical way. He spoke to me as from a position, I believe, from a position as of a black father to a black father.
Yes.
But of all the things that he wrote back to me, the thing that penetrated me most was the fact that he's in the midst of him ministering to what I was dealing with. He said, "I'm angry too."
Yes. Yes.
That I Of all the things that he said to me, that particular "I'm angry too." That was I was in,
Yes.
I don't know, but
Yes.
so with that being said,
Mm.
how important has it been for you, or is it important to you, when particularly when you're ministering to others in this time and things of that nature? How important is it to share personal feelings, or where you stand on a particular subject in the midst of ministry?
I think it's very important to be practical, to be transparent, and to share your truth. I think it's very important too to be slow to speak and quick to listen. I'm learning that as I age and as I'm becoming more wiser. But yeah, I think it's very important. I also think that as for me, I'm always making sure that I am being sensitive to the spirit of God who's in me. Like, that's just a reality, right? And so I'm not trying to be deep, like, oh, the spirit of God. Yeah, the spirit of God is in me. When you get that check, like, hold up, you probably shouldn't have went there. You probably no. I try to be very sensitive to the spirit of God in me, but always keeping it 100. Always doing my best to keep it real and to be practical and to share my truth. So that's real right there. What you said, that your pastors can say, "I'm angry too." We don't put up a wall as if we don't see what's going on, as if we're colorblind. No, we see. We've seen the unrest. We've seen the disparities. We've seen racism. We've seen it, and even in the movement that I'm a part of within the community with One Love Global, I'm a community organizer in the city. We've dealt with a lot of that, right? And so I've been able to help um, communicate what we've been doing in the city as it pertains to like Black Lives Matter and with the youth and all of the unrest during the pandemic. So I don't get as much time as I wish because I work full time, where there are others that is their full time job. But just being educated in that world, I'm a mother of three sons, right? Black men, and a husband who's a carpenter who deals with racism as a Black entrepreneur in a
Right.
city that's not really diverse. And so just being real and having those conversations, even with the community group that I work with, we come together with whites, Hispanics, and Blacks, and we have these tough conversations where we can break down barriers and we're pointing these things out. It's just, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It keeps you on your toes. And so, yeah, I think being practical is important. Being real and transparent is important, but also being sensitive to the spirit of God when you dig into these conversations, because hurt people, right?
Mm.
And I think any opportunity to communicate truth and to be a peacemaker is who I am, is who I desire to be, to please God. So yeah.
Do you know what do you know now that you didn't know prior to the pandemic about yourself?
Oh, about me. Whew, a lot. um, Man, that I have so much more to learn.
Mm.
So much more to learn. So much more to learn. I had opportunities again to just to sit still. Um, just even relationships, being more sensitive to time. We don't get time back, right?
Right.
So my cousin is gone out. I'm using him as an example. One thing I love about him is that he loved to the fullest. He was very loved in the community because Joe loved. He lived life like he knew he was about to go. And he didn't, but he loved hard. And now
Hmm.
I look back, I loved hard as well, but I feel like I could have loved him more. I could have took more opportunities to do more things with him more. And so what I've learned about myself is time is of the essence, and I need to bank on opportunities to really spend more time. And I'm like, look, I do so much. And that's what I'm about, right? I'm the one in the family who's pulling everybody together. Where there was a season when I was getting weary and well doing. Like, why I always got to be the one to call the barbecue? Why I always got to be the one to plan the cookout? Why I always got to be the one to have everybody, it's always me, right? I was getting weary and well doing. But God checked my heart through the pandemic. If not you, then who? And so
Right.
what I've learned is that I need to deny self and always live to the fullest of what he has instructed me to do based on my personalities, my gifts, my talents, my strengths, and do it. And do it, because guess what? It might be me next. And I want to
Right.
live as if there's no tomorrow. Like right now, and you know this might, but the people might not know. I am currently at some good friends a surprise birthday party. I didn't want to
Mhm.
cancel this interview to take a walk with Mike, right? Because we had to do that already before when I lost my cousin.
Right.
But when I got this very dear close friends of mine, I'm like, man, I don't want to miss the opportunity to surprise my boy. His wife
Yeah.
putting out his word. Their children are my godchildren. My husband's out there. And it happened right on time. He pulled up. We like, surprise. And here I am set up in one of their offices, right? And they out there partying, getting it in, eating and
Right.
being merry and love. That's life. That's beautiful, right?
Right.
So just the
Absolutely.
fullness of just obeying and living to the fullest with just a balance, with a balance, with a
Mm.
balance. So I've learned that's some of what I've learned about me.
No, absolutely. Um, you kind of taking me to a different place, and I really respect everything that you're doing and everything that you are. Again, like I said, when I interview people, I research them and I kind of like bury myself in that person. You know what I mean? To try to kind of get a sense of who they are. And like I said, when I saw, when I see the videos and different things that you put out, it really tells a lot about you. And like I said, it made me laugh. It brought me joy. It brought a smile to my face just seeing,
Awesome.
those things. And so,
Thank you.
um, with that being said, I mean, being the one who, as you said earlier, is pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, putting this together, putting that together. Who pours into you?
That's so beautiful. That was so beautifully asked. Wow. I,
Thank you.
my mother pours into me. I love her. My mother calls me every single day.
Mhm.
And I can say this, a couple years ago, and I'm getting a little emotional. I remember being on my way to work and my mom was calling me and I'm like, oh, mom, every day, like, really? Like, oh, mom. And God checked my heart. There are some people that wish their mama would call them once a month.
Come on. Come on.
There are some people whose mother's dead and gone and they wish their mother was alive to call them again.
Come on.
God checked me. How dare you throw your head back because your mama calling you again another day? And
Come
from
on.
that day forward, I embrace and I make sure that I pick up that phone when my mama called me. I came up as a young girl and weren't well off. So low income, we were in the hoods, but my mom kept a clean apartment. We had food. No man was touching on us, single parent, right?
Right.
We had shoes on our feet. May have been vouchers, but we got some shoes from them old newsboys who I give to this day, right? I sow into that ministry to this day.
Yeah.
But what we did not lack was love. My mom and
Mm.
I had a sister, so it's two of us. My mom has always given us love, poured love into us. And to this day, it is still the same for me and my sister, for my children, for my grandchildren. So there's a lot of people that pour into me, but I want to give a shout out and give credit to my mother because she pours love into me. She tells me she's so proud of me every day. I'm like, Mom, almost like I just like what I do today. Why are you so proud today? It's like almost like I just released a new project every day. And oh, you so beautiful. Look at you. You so beautiful. You just and I can be looking a hot mess, but she tells me how beautiful I am and how proud of me she is, how proud she is of me and love. And I thank God just for her health and God kept her because she could have been dead and gone a couple years ago, but God saved her, right? And so my mother, the very one who birthed me, is the very one who pours into me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You
And so
just
yeah, and I have a community of people that I thank God for that pour into me. And yeah, I you get what you sow, right? So a lot of people that pour out ought to be getting something in return. I just thank God for it. I thank God for it. I live a blessed life, and I give glory to God for it. I do.
wow. Wow. Um, I can definitely relate. I know that a couple years ago I had got into a bad car accident. Like my truck flipped over, and it was like a few days before Christmas, and
Mm,
but it was warm out. It was just unseasonably warm. So I had my window down, and you know how you drive with your arm resting on the door,
yeah,
and so I'm doing that, and I come around the corner, and my brakes fail. I couldn't control the car or whatever, and
Jesus.
as my truck flips over, my arm falls out the window, and my truck rolled over my left arm and broke my arm. And that ended up not only the only injury I got was that broken arm. Even though my truck flipped over all those times, the broken arm. But anyway, so so I go to
Wow.
I go to the hospital. They do surgery. The surgery was only supposed to take 2 hours. It ended up taking 10 hours to repair my elbow.
Wow.
So I'm complaining. I'm mad. I'm like, man, they told me it's only gonna take 2 hours. I could have been home. I want to go home. It was like I said, it was like around Christmas time. You know what I'm saying? I want to see my kids open presents. I want to spend time, but all this and that. So I'm complaining, but by the time they're done with surgery, it's like 10 o'clock at night. So I'm not going nowhere. So I go in a room. They put me in a room, and I would say about maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, I was having a nightmare, and I wake up and my hospital room is filled with doctors and nurses just running every which way, right?
Wow.
And and it was at that moment I realized I couldn't breathe. Like I could inhale, but I couldn't exhale. I was never. Making a long story short, I ended up having a blood clot in my lung. So if I had went home,
You would have been gone.
I would put it this, if I'd have went home, I'd have ended up going home. How about
Yeah. If you would have went home, you would have been
that?
home.
Right. So I know,
Wow.
I understand, what you
Wow.
mean when you are angry about things, about something that's happening, but you're not really realizing the significance of it in that moment.
Yes.
And so I definitely understand that. I
Wow.
definitely understand that.
Well, I'm glad he kept you, Mike, so I have an opportunity to meet you and
Absolutely.
to hear your story. That's powerful for you to be able to say, just an arm, just an arm. But look what
Yeah.
the enemy was still coming for you. Blood clot. Oh, just an arm. He came for more, but he still lost. But he still lost. So
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that you're still
Absolutely.
here with us, Mike. That's what's up. Wow, that's powerful.
Absolutely. And and the funny thing is that I would see when I was a kid, I used to see some of my friends like they might break an arm or break a leg or
Yeah.
something like that, and I would think to myself, I wonder what it would be like to break. I wonder what it'd be like to break a bone, and you know what I'm saying? Because you see them, they're getting all this attention, and they got the
Right.
cameras on. People want to sign. Listen, I would never want to wish that on anybody because not only did I have a cast on, they get put this metal thing on my arm too. I couldn't even put a shirt on. It
Are you
was a mess.
left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed. I'm
Was it
right-handed,
that your left arm you messing
but
with?
it was my left. Yeah, it was
Okay.
my left
All
arm.
right. That was a
But
little better than it could have been, but you know.
yeah,
Right.
but yeah. So I understand. What would you say is the most common misconception about you that
The
people
co-
have
the
that
most common misconception?
that you found that people have about you?
Hmm. That's a good one.
Like some people might say, "Oh, I thought from a distance, oh, she looks mean," or she plays too much, or she I don't know, whatever. But
Oh, I got one. I got one. It
okay.
just came. It just came to me that I'm so busy. Now I know y'all heard a lot of stuff I said I'm doing, but I'm telling you, everybody, but you always so busy. You always so busy. I do a lot, Mike, but I'm telling you what, I have so much time. Just the grace that God has allowed for me to rest and for me time and for downtime. So people like, how do you do all of that? And people swear some people don't invite me to stuff because you be so busy. That's a
Mhm.
misconception. I'm not always so busy. I'm doing purpose, but I have time that's created for me for self-care, for family, for opportunities like this. How I'll make it time. I'm here celebrating a friend, but yet still do the interview. It may seem busy, but I showed up, right? And I'm
Right.
here. And so I think that's a misconception because people say it all the time. And another one is when I run into people that I know back in the day because I'm funny, down to earth, like to have fun. Oh, you ain't gonna never change. That's a misconception. Because
Right.
God has changed me
Right.
tons. So when you see people that want to see you frozen in time, and not that that wasn't a compliment, because it's all, positive because it's fun, but like, oh, you ain't gonna never change. Oh, girl, you ain't gonna never change. That's a misconception. Change is great. And I want to forever change. So though I may be funny, down to earth, whatever encounter you just encountered, oh, I've changed. So that's another misconception. Those are the two things that popped into my head.
Okay. So on the flip side of that, what would people be surprised to know about you? Do you have are you overly competitive? Do you have some type of
I'm
weird talent?
bossy.
Do
I'm
you?
bossy. I'm bossy. And God
so
is dealing with me. So
so people would be surprised so people would be surprised to know that you're bossy.
because you're like, I ain't surprised.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Yes. I don't know. What would they be surprised about? That I don't watch television. I hardly
Really?
ever sit down and watch a show. No, I've never watched a lot of TV, and that might seem a little shallow, but so what? That's what some people be like. What? You know? Yeah, I haven't watched TV. I don't watch much TV at all, and so that's one thing that comes to mind.
Okay. All right. This is my last official question, and this is a question that I ask all my guests.
Okay.
So I want to once I ask it, I want you to take a second and think about it and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you can possibly give. Okay.
All right.
The question is, what would have to happen in your life if it hasn't happened already for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like to you specifically?
Success to me is living life to the fullest with in love, loving God, loving people, growing daily, finding opportunities to grow and die to self, and to know that you're leaving an impact on all those connected to you, and maybe some that you will never meet that are connected to you before you leave the earth. That's what success is to me. Accomplishing goals that you have set out for yourself in your purpose, accomplishing them to the best of your ability, but for most importantly, live in purpose. And that purpose isn't Him. I'm always pointing back to God. Live in purpose to the fullest and living it out loud. That's what success is to me. We can say all day it's in money, it's in your job, it's in relationships. All those things are good, but I'm telling you, success is so that He can say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," and being bold about it. Like right now, I can think, "Oh, somebody gonna think, nah, that's facts. That's true. There's some people that's gone today. I could be next." And the most important thing I want to hear and have done is live purpose, so He can say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." That's success. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Okay.
Period.
That is one of the most complete answers that I've received since I've started doing it. This show, and I say this all the time. Let's Take a Walk is kind of based out of the pandemic. This is something that I've always wanted to do, but I just didn't have the nerve or whatever you want to call it. But once I realized that, especially during the season of the pandemic and everything that's going on, I realized that this is a season where, like no other, where you have to walk in whatever your truth is. Like you have
Yes.
to, in essence, you have to pick a side.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you stand for, you got to stand
Yes.
on it at this point because everybody wants to be clear.
Yes.
So,
Congratulations. Thanks for answering the call for Let's Take a Walk. I look forward to digging more into your ministry and watching some other interviews. And thank you for taking the time to dig into my movement and my ministry. I appreciate it, and for this invitation. So that's what's up, Mike.
absolutely. So how can someone get in touch with you if they're interested and if they got questions, if they want to sew, if they just want to know a little bit more. How do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so you could contact me through email. Email is Shanell, Shanell, middle initial M as in Mary, last name Henry, at gmail.com. Because I deactivated my website for this season of waiting. You can contact me through Instagram. My Instagram is Shanell Henry and the number one. I'm on TikTok. You can catch me on TikTok at Shanell Henry the number seven. I'm also on Facebook. My music page is on Facebook, Shanell Ms. Reality Henry. And for the music, again, music is timeless. Please check out my projects. They're available on all music outlets. The first couple of projects is under Ms. Reality, Mizz Reality. There's For His Glory, and there's Scott Free under Ms. Reality. and all in all. And then the final project I released was under Shanell Henry, and that's called By Design. So check out the Apple Store, Apple Music, Spotify, so on and so forth. Yeah. So for the most part, that's that. I have a podcast you can check out on Apple. And it's the Five Heartbeats podcast. Five Heartbeats podcast. I got some work to do to catch up there, get up to speed. And so yeah, that's how you can contact me. So hopefully, there's an opportunity to connect and to build. I love, again, I love women. I love people. I love ministry. I love motivating, encouraging, inspiring. So if you're looking for someone to come help empower, to share, to serve, and there's an opportunity to connect, let's do it. I have some things that God has downloaded in me. I can't speak it all just yet, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to traveling. I retired the workplace in 4 years. And so there's a plan that's in store. So as I'm energetic today, I look forward to being energetic in 4 years and to keep going for another 20 plus. Let's do it. So let's connect. Let's connect.
I know that's right. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, on the podcast. I really appreciate it because, like you said, you're at a party right now. Um, I want to thank you and I want to wish you much blessings on everything that you have going on, your family, and
Thank
everything
you.
that you have. Um, and I look forward to hopefully having you on the platform again to kind of catch up with the progress that you that you make even from this point.
Thank
Um, so again, I thank you. Um, and I apologize for pulling you away from, your celebration, but I hope you have a
No
good time
apologies,
with
because
this
guess
time.
what? Let's take a walk was first in line. This was an added an added occasion. So no, I
Okay.
apologize that it wasn't able to work back when we had to reschedule. So absolutely, I'm about keeping a word. That's a part of character, excellence. So however I had to do to make it happen, I was not going to cancel. So again, thank you for your words, your encouragement, and for this opportunity.
No problem. I will keep you no longer. You have an awesome evening and a great weekend. And
Thank
again,
you,
I
Mike.
thank you for coming on. Let's take a walk.
Thank you. Bless you, fam. Peace, everybody.
Peace. So there you have it, another episode of Let's Take a Walk in the books. I want to thank Miss Henry for coming on and sharing, being so transparent and sharing her ministry and her background and everything everything her. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it. She almost got me a couple times. I felt myself misting up a little bit, but I had to keep it together. I kept it together, y'all. So I know y'all proud of me because I kept it together. But so on that note, I just want to thank everybody who came on. Shout out to Charles Cruz, killer. Shout out to my man Larry Miles. Shout out to Jana Parsons, um, my unofficial mentor. Shout out to you, and everyone else who Tasha Curry, Torrance. Shout out to everybody who came out to support the movement. I really really appreciate it. Uh, you can check this if you came in the middle of the interview or if you missed it. You can watch it on my page, Mike Robinson 11 on Facebook, or you can go to YouTube and type in "Let's Take a Walk" featuring Shanell Henry. That's Shanell Henry Henry. Please like, share, and subscribe. Trying to get that viewership up, that subscribership. I'm making up words. Subscribership word up. Get those subscriberships up. And on that note, I thank y'all for coming on and checking me out. I know you guys. We kind of got they kind of took the chains off us. They kind of took the yoke off of us to be able to move around. So I don't count it as a small thing that you guys decided to come on tonight. Miss Henry shared a lot of awesome testimony, a lot of awesome word that I know and that I hope um, inspired and encouraged and fed, whoever saw fit to to watch the show. And that's what this platform is all about. Highlighting those that do amazing things that may not have the household name that others might have. And so um, this is what I do it for, and I truly enjoy it. I truly enjoy doing it for you guys. And that's it. So on that note, I guess I'll see you guys on Friday, and yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday. So on that note, I wish you guys an awesome weekend. I got tongue tied for a minute. Um, you guys have an awesome weekend and an awesome week, and I'll see you guys next week. All right. Good night. Take a walk.